welcome to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I'm working on Scraplift Crafternoon. This is a weekly hop that I host here on my channel with my Scraplift Crafternoon tribe members. There are, I believe, 11 of us now, so we've got a pretty full house. Not everybody's participating this week, so those that have videos this week will be linked in the playlist. Everybody is linked down below. Their YouTube channels as well as their Instagram accounts. If you need some inspiration, I suggest you head over to those accounts because my team is amazing. We have the best tribe ever. So we are scraplifting somebody with a fairly new channel. Her name is Amanda, and I will have her stuff linked down below. This is the video that we are, or layout that we are scraplifting this week. I asked Amanda to choose one for us to scraplift. This is the one that she gave me. And so Scraplift Crafternoon was originally created to kind of give feedback or give back to the scrapbooking community by scraplifting people who have low subscribers on their accounts, both Instagram and or YouTube. And that was one of the ways that the original people who created this hop wanted to give back to the community. Neither one of the ladies who originally started this hop are even participating any longer. I took over when the last of the two went back to work full-time and no longer has time to participate in hops and things. So anyway, this is a great hop to help bring awareness to new channels. We love giving back to our fellow creators. So what I am using this week are actually scraps and embellishments from my April counterfeit kit. The scraps I put in the actual kit because I put this collection in my April counterfeit kit. And I never did get around to putting a video up of my kit, so that's unfortunate. But I can post some photos here in a moment and let you take a good look at it, because I do have photos of my kit. It's rather large. And then I have a couple photos of our oldest daughter. There's two. I don't know where the second one ran off to, but there are two. This is her 20th birthday. And so I am actually going to be scrapbooking this photo. I'm going to have to trim it down a little bit. I think it's a little on the large side. So I'm going to pause, I'm going to get started, and I will be right back. So I noticed that Amanda had a little bit of shimmery in her background of her layout. So I pulled out this Distress Spritz Spray. This is supposed to be peacock feathers. It doesn't look like peacock feathers, not either the oxide or the regular Distress ink. It's more of a grayish blue. And after talking to a few other friends about these, I've discovered that that is absolutely a thing with these. They are not the color that you would expect. So I need to go through the process of actually swatching them so I know what color I'm pulling. Luckily, the blue-gray matches what I'm working with fairly well, and I don't have to start over. As you saw, I used the packaging technique, and then because I didn't get enough coverage, I spritzed just a little bit on my cardstock. The next thing I did off camera was I cut down a piece of the blue, I don't know what pattern, it's a tone-on-tone blue, and I used that die from Spellbinders to cut a frame. Amanda's layout had a frame. I think hers was probably a pre-made frame. It kind of reminded me of a 49 and Market frame that's in many of their collections. So I just cut one out of the pattern paper that I have because I've got a couple frame dies that I can use. And then I took this floral piece and I'm going to put this underneath my two photos. I love this floral piece of paper. I'm pretty sure it's the last of what I had from this collection of that particular pattern. And so I want to use it in a manner that you can really see it. You also saw that I cut off the branding strip. My Mind's Eye does not have full branding strips like a lot of the companies do. They typically just have a little tiny bit kind of like Simple Stories does, and I don't usually save those type of branding strips, but because this one was a lot wider than normal, I went ahead and I cut it off to bring in that yellow, and I'm going to put that dotted yellow right here at the top above my photo. It's just an additional piece, and then I'm going to go ahead and mat this photo on another piece of the yellow. And I'm going to go ahead and overlap the smaller photo on to the framed photo just a little bit, which is why I wanted to use a different color than the blue. I have plenty of the blue that I created the frame out of, but I didn't want the same color. I kind of wanted to differentiate between the two. Again, this is my daughter's 20th birthday. She's blowing out her candles for her cake. Yes, that cake is green. That cake is a pistachio cake. It was called a Watergate cake. I think the recipe was created during the Watergate scandal time frame. It's an old recipe, one that I actually grew up with, and my kids all adore that cake, and so I made it for her birthday rather than a cheesecake that particular year. Now, this is where I'm deviating just a tad from Amanda's layout. I've got my large title, but it's a pre-made title, so it doesn't take up as much real estate on the bottom of my layout as hers does, and that's fine. I love big titles, and I love that this title is fairly large. I'm going to add to the title, though, but first I want to get my journaling block. That's an Ellie Edwards story kit piece. I have been hoarding her story kits forever and a day, so I've pulled out a whole bunch of those types of embellishments from my story kits stash and put into this month's kit. I have no idea why my camera just zoomed out like that. Luckily it's not horrible, but I wish it wouldn't have done that, and I don't know why it did that. I thought I had it turned to manual zoom on the settings, but maybe an update changed that. Who knows? Anyway, I am going to put the words Happy 20th underneath the large title, and I'm realized right here that I had the letters too close to the large title, and I'm going to have to move them down to add in the TH because they won't fit the way I have them now. So I'm going to stick them on here real quick, but then I'm going to take them all off and move them down. And actually, I think I get them straighter after I move them down. And these are puffy stickers. I believe they're a Paige Evans set of puffy stickers, although I'm not quite sure that that's the case. But that's my guess. They look like a lot of the ones that come with her American Crafts collections. So I just moved those down, and the reason I brought up the fact that they're puffy stickers, because that means I'm going to have to use wet glue behind them to make sure that they stay. So this pack of chipboard embellishments is also from an Ellie Edwards story kit, and I want to use just that black one today, or Love the Way You Shine, I think is what it says. I added 3 flowers from the little phrase set that has mostly boy phrases on it, but it had the flowers on it as well, and so I pulled those and I used those. I had really wanted to use these circles on my layout, but they just didn't work. All right, I got this layout completely done. I'm quite happy with this layout. I did not include a lot of floral or girl elements in my April counterfeit kit. So it's kind of nice to be able to do a layout with a little bit of flowers and still use my April kit. This is the very first layout I've done with this kit, so really need to get cracking because it's a large kit. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this process video and seeing my take on Amanda's beautiful layout. I went with her large title and her clusters. She had clusters going up and down, and I used 2 photos. It's not a Christmas layout, but it is a layout from December. This young lady was born in December, born a week before Christmas. And so that's kind of the same. I did enjoy putting the little bit of distress spritz on here. On the background, she looked like she had a little bit of mica mist of some sort on her layout, and so I wanted to mimic that. And that is all. Make sure that you check out my description box below my video for this week's playlist for this scrap lift, and that way you can see what my amazing team of creatives do with this layout. You're gonna get so many different versions of this, and I'm sure they'll all be amazing. I hope that you have a great rest of your day. Bye.